Every move you make, every truth you tell, is a step closer to being outplayed. But don't worry, you're not alone in this game. Most people are losing, and it's because they don't even realize there's a game happening. Machiavelli understood these dynamics centuries ago, and they're just as relevant today. Imagine if you could grasp the strategies to shift the odds in your favor. Stay with me, and I'll show you how to stop falling behind and start taking control. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. What if the reason you're losing isn't because you're bad at the game, but because you've been playing by the wrong rules this entire time? Think about that for a second. You show up, you work hard, you play fair, because that's exactly what you've been told to do. But the truth is, while you've been focused on playing fair, someone else has been busy outsmarting you. Not because they're better or smarter or more talented, but because they understand a reality you might not have accepted yet. Life is full of invisible power games, and whether you realize it or not, you're a player in them. This world isn't built to reward fairness or hard work alone. That sounds nice in a motivational speech, but in the real world? Those who truly win do so because they know how to manipulate the rules, leverage others, and make themselves indispensable. Meanwhile, the rest are left in the dust, frustrated and confused, convincing themselves that they're just unlucky or not trying hard enough. The problem isn't you, it's the rules you've been told to follow. You've been taught phrases like honesty is the best policy or hard work always pays off. But has that ever really worked out the way you expected? Imagine you're at work. You're the one who stays late, volunteers for the tough projects, and ensures every detail is flawless. Now compare yourself to that one coworker. You know the one. They're loud, charming, and somehow always get their ideas noticed. They take risks you wouldn't dream of, and yet they keep finding success even when their work is mediocre at best. You're doing everything right, and it still feels like you're invisible. Why? Because in power games, the loudest person isn't dismissed as annoying. They're seen as confident. The hardest worker, often undervalued. And the one who knows how to control perception? That's the person who wins. It's frustrating, I know, but these dynamics aren't new. Over 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli observed this same human behavior and wrote down strategies to navigate it. His insights weren't about being morally right. They were about winning. Machiavelli understood that people are motivated by self-interest, by perception, and by the stories they tell themselves. He saw that appealing to these things could give you power over them. And here's the crazy part. Everything he identified in the 16th century still applies today. Only now, with modern social dynamics, it's even more relevant. Think about how things work in 2025. Our lives are dominated by social media, workplace hierarchies, relationship politics, all arenas where perception means everything. Someone with the right story, the right look, or the right timing can completely dominate. It's like playing chess, but most people don't even realize they're on the board. They think they're showing up for a fair contest, when the truth is that all the moves have already been pre-calculated by someone who understands the game better. And if you're sitting there playing by the fair rules that everyone's told you to follow, you're already 2 steps behind. But you don't need to stay behind. Once you see the game for what it really is, you can start playing it on your own terms. That's where Machiavelli's strategies come in. He didn't write for kings and nobles alone. His rules were designed for anyone who wanted to navigate power struggles and come out ahead. The good news? These strategies aren't about becoming unethical or manipulative for the sake of it. They're about survival. They're about understanding how people think, what motivates them, and how you can position yourself to thrive. Let's go back to that workplace example. While your loud coworker is soaking up the attention, you might feel like your hard work should speak for itself. But what if, instead of focusing solely on the grind, you learned how to direct that same attention toward you, strategically, without making it obvious? That's one of the keys Machiavelli identified. Power isn't just about what you do. It's about what others think, you're doing. This doesn't mean you have to change who you are. It means you start controlling the narrative. You give them just enough to think they understand you, but never enough to fully predict your next move. That's the advantage the loud coworker might never see coming, and this applies to every part of life. How many times have you heard, "Just be yourself and people will like you"? Sounds comforting, right? But being yourself isn't always enough. The world doesn't automatically reward authenticity. What it rewards is strategic authenticity. That's the power of Machiavelli's approach. He understood that being liked wasn't about being genuine all the time. It was about knowing when to be genuine and when to hold back, when to show kindness and when to be ruthless, when to play the hero and when to let others think you're the fool until it's too late for them to adjust. If that sounds cold, it's not. It's realistic. Machiavelli wasn't teaching cruelty. He was teaching balance. You don't have to abandon fairness or kindness, but you can't let them be your only tools. If you want to win in a world where people are constantly playing for position, whether it's in a boardroom, at a party, or even online, you need a sharper toolkit. That's what this video is about. It's about giving you that edge, not by telling you to work harder or fight louder, but by showing you how to work smarter. The problem isn't you. It's not your intelligence or talent holding you back. It's that you've been playing by rules that weren't designed to help you succeed. Rules like always play fair, be as transparent as possible, or hard work speaks for itself. These are comforting lies. They're shortcuts meant to keep you complacent while others climb past you. The loud coworker, the charismatic friend, the influencer with millions of followers, they aren't winning because they're following those rules. They're winning because they know how to bend them and make everyone else play along. This is where everything changes. If you're ready to stop losing, you need to stop clinging to the wrong rules. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 21 principles inspired by Machiavelli himself. Each one will give you the power to see through the noise, understand what's really driving decisions and behaviors around you, and use that knowledge to your advantage without anyone realizing. One by one, these rules will unravel the weak spots in the people and systems around you. You'll learn how to think 3 steps ahead, make yourself indispensable, and avoid the traps others are still falling into. It's simple. You've been losing because you've been going by rules that weren't meant for you. That's why everything changes now. Let's start with the first rule that will flip the game entirely. Why do the quietest people in the room often hold the most power? It's not because they lack ambition or ideas. These are the people paying attention, gathering information, and preparing to make their move while everyone else is too busy trying to prove themselves. They let others run circles trying to be seen or heard, and when the moment is right, they act. The power of being underestimated is a strategy many overlook, but it's one of the sharpest tools in your arsenal. Here's the problem. We live in a world that rewards loudness. Think about the people who dominate meetings at work, the ones who flood social media with posts about their every win, or those who always manage to steer conversations back to themselves. It creates this feeling that visibility equals value. And what do most people do in response? They try to match that energy. They speak louder, share more, push harder to prove why they matter. But the act of trying to prove yourself makes you predictable, an easy target. To prove your worth, you inevitably reveal your hand, and anyone paying attention can play you against yourself. Now imagine someone who doesn't play that game. Someone who keeps their cards close, listens more than they speak, and lets others make assumptions about them. Being underestimated is powerful because it removes you from the spotlight. It allows others to lower their guard around you. They won't see you as a threat, which means they're less cautious, less strategic, and far more likely to make mistakes. Picture this. A new employee joins a highly competitive team at a prestigious tech company. Everyone on the team is scrambling to make themselves noticeable, racing to impress the manager in a crowded room of equally hungry professionals. The new hire, however, does something different. They stay quiet during the first few meetings, focusing on listening rather than speaking. They observe who holds power in the room, who's respected for their ideas, and who seems to be a source of tension. They gather every piece of information they can without drawing attention to themselves. A few weeks later, a major project lands, and with confidence but not arrogance, they speak up with a suggestion based on everything they've observed. Their idea is well-researched, timely, and more importantly, impressive, because no one realized they were paying so much attention all along. That quiet, underestimated newcomer suddenly shifts from obscurity to being noticed by the people who matter in that moment. This strategy isn't about sitting quietly and waiting forever. It's about timing. It's about running counter to the noisy world around you and playing your moves strategically. Research in psychology backs this, showing that people are surprisingly quick to form impressions, sometimes within seconds of meeting someone. This means the initial assumptions others make about you are powerful, but also prone to bias. If you don't feed into their expectations too quickly, they're likely to underestimate you, and that's where the leverage lies. If people don't see you as a competitor, they're less guarded, more relaxed, and prone to revealing far more than they would around someone they see as a direct threat. Let's put this in a broader context. Throughout history, the most calculated leaders have understood the value of understatement. Take Napoleon Bonaparte before he was emperor. Early in his military career, many of his opponents didn't see him as a threat. He wasn't born into high status, nor did he have any powerful allies at first. But Napoleon's ability to stay quiet, study his opponents, and strike at exactly the right moment changed everything. By the time people realized what he was capable of, it was too late. He used the perception of being insignificant to his advantage and rewrote the entire story of where his life was supposed to go. Even now, this idea plays out in modern settings. In today's world, where social media often rewards dramatics and performative gestures, someone who steps back and doesn't fight for space in the chaos can appear mysterious. And in the minds of others, mystery breeds curiosity. Think about the difference between a person who overshares every detail of their life online versus someone who posts sparingly, leaving their audience to wonder what they're really up to. Which person holds more intrigue? Which one do others actively think about when their name comes up? That's the dynamic you create when you choose to stay quiet and keep others guessing. Silence is magnetic, and here's what makes this strategy even more dangerous. It gives you the advantage of surprise. People who misjudge your abilities or intent begin to build assumptions around you. They might assume you lack ambition, confidence, or ideas. Let them. Because while they're comfortably underestimating you, you're gathering every piece of leverage behind the scenes. By the time they realize they've miscalculated, you've already won. Why does this work so effectively? It ties back to something known as miscalculation bias. Studies in social psychology suggest that when people underestimate someone, they don't put their guard up in the same way they would around an obvious threat. Their energy is focused elsewhere, often on individuals who are loud and demanding attention. By positioning yourself as an observer rather than a performer, you gain access to information, dynamics, and opportunities that others are too distracted to notice. Think about this like a chess game. The loudest player telegraphs every move, making it easy for an opponent to predict their strategy. On the other hand, the quiet player doesn't give anything away. Their pieces seem almost stagnant until they're not. A single move in the right moment can shatter every strategy that was being built against them. That's the power of being underestimated. You're playing a long game that others aren't even aware is happening. Most people think power comes from being noticed, from being the center of attention. But the real power often lies in control. Controlling how others see you, what they assume about you, and when you decide to reveal the truth. The less people expect from you, the more you control the outcome. When you finally step into the spotlight, it won't just be impactful, it'll be unshakable. Calculated power always outlasts public noise. What if the most effective way to win isn't by being right, but by being irresistible? This goes against everything most people are taught to believe. Society constantly repeats the idea that the truth, no matter how difficult or inconvenient, will always shine through. You've heard it your whole life. Honesty is the best policy. But let's be real. When was the last time being right alone got you ahead? The truth is forgettable. Charm, on the other hand, lingers. It slips past defenses, reshapes narratives, and wins over even the harshest critics. People don't always follow the truth. They follow what feels good, what draws them in, what they want to believe. Charm is the shortcut to controlling all of that. Most people are playing the wrong game. They think proving their case with plain facts is enough, whether in a debate, a negotiation, or even in personal relationships. But facts rarely matter as much as how they're delivered. A person who knows how to say the wrong thing in the right way will beat someone with the right thing in the wrong way almost every time. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that humans are driven by emotions, more than we like to admit. His famous lesson? It's the perception of the truth, skillfully delivered with enough charisma, that controls people. Look at the world around you, especially in today's hyper-connected digital age. Social media has created entire industries where charm is currency and truth is optional. Think about the influencer who showcases a flawless lifestyle on Instagram. Do you really believe their life is as perfect as they make it seem? Of course not. There are filters, curated highlights, and carefully selected images that give you a version of their life they want you to see. And yet millions of people follow them, envy them, and aspire to be like them.